Welcome back, my wannabe YouTubers. I'm, of course, Blast Bunny, and today we're doing something a little bit different than what I'm usually doing. So it's no surprise that I complain that there is, like, no quality control on YouTube, and any person who wants to upload any video can basically do it. And you know what? I'm sick of complaining about it, and I feel like doing something about it. So, I'm gonna start, this is my first video, by the way. I'm gonna start a whole new series called How to Tube, or How to YouTube. I haven't really decided yet, but, I mean, we'll get to it. So anyway, I'm gonna be speaking as someone who's doing a gaming channel. If you're looking for a tutorial on how to do, like, a makeup channel, or something else, you're in the wrong place. I'm not even gonna lie. But if you want to do, like, a gaming channel, okay? If you want to do good gaming content, right? I can help you there, because I've been there. There is a spider web in front of my camera. You can't see it, but it's bugging me. Alright, so anyway, I was gonna take apart my own rig, and I didn't really want to do that, so instead I found this game called PC Building Simulator. And it's not gonna be as in-depth as what I could show you with the actual rig, but it's a good place to show you where to start and how to put things together. Now again, I'm coming at this like I'm talking to someone who has no idea how to put together computers, but you really enjoy playing games. And if that's you, stick around. We're gonna show you some stuff. Yeah. Okay, hi, welcome to PC Building Simulator, whatever. I really don't need this window. I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional. There is no sound. I don't need these. Alright, well, first of all, let me just comment on how great this room is. And also, the shift button makes you crouch. Okay, so, when you buy a computer pre-owned, this is pretty much what you're going to be looking at. You're going to have a motherboard, a fan on top of your CPU, with CPU in there that you probably won't see. You probably won't have 4 RAM sticks. Usually they come with 1 or 2. A fan that goes outside, a power pack, a hard drive, and you'd have a DVD. Wow, let me turn it real quick. You'd have a DVD-ROM in this area, and basically wait. Oh, no, that just turns it. That didn't do nothing. Anyway, this area is where you'd put your unit for reading discs. It'd be a disc reader, basically, in this area right here where this square is. But it won't let me install one, so I'm not gonna have one, I guess. All right, and then all these parts are actually really super easy to take out and put back in. They made it so simple. There's no hard wiring or anything. It's literally like Duplo blocks. Does anyone remember those? When I was a kid. Legos. It's as simple as Legos. All right. I guess we're gonna. Okay, that was what it looks like if you bought it pre-made. Let's go show you how we did that. Okay, so when you start building your own PC, it's gonna be a lot of bullshit. I'm not even joking right now. There are so many different models of every piece of a PC, it almost seems daunting. You'll be like asking yourself, is this the right one? Should I be using this one? The best tip I can give you for buying parts for your PC, don't sweat it. Literally, everything is very easy to find out. All you really have to do is find what the current model of that type you want. So let's say, let's do this. An Asus motherboard. You figure out what the most current version of an Asus motherboard is, or what different types are the peak ones, and then just work yourself backwards. And find the one that's in your price range and is good for you. The worst part about building a PC is that it can get very expensive. So if you're someone who doesn't have a lot of cash, you're not going to be getting the best graphics or whatever, but it doesn't mean you can't still build your own PC. I think that's where most people come from when they start doing, you know, the whole PC building thing, is they think that it's super complicated, and it really is not. I've built quite a few PCs in my day, and it's not at all as daunting as they would like you to believe. Okay, I'm gonna use the tutorial here because it's an easy way to let you guys know what all these components do, because this game will probably articulate it better than I will, because let's face it, I'm me. Okay, welcome to PC Building Simulator. It's a great important thing we do. PC, gonna show you guys how to YouTube. I still have no idea how I'm gonna name this. Okay. Standoffs are spacers installed between the motherboard and the metal tray behind it so a short circuit is not created. They are also the place the motherboard screws are installed in. Okay, so basically standoffs are plastic pegs that go in between the motherboard and the back of your rig. Okay, and the back of your rig is always going to be an aluminum or a type of metal. Now, what can happen is, since this basically is a giant microchip, it's a giant chip, there are electrical currents going all over the surface of it, and if it arcs to the metal in the back, it could short circuit a part of your motherboard, and then your motherboard don't work no more, and that just kind of sucks. It doesn't work then, and you're like, crap, why did I spend 200 bucks on a motherboard if it is gonna burn out on me because I forgot my stupid spacers? Okay, so we gotta go buy some. All right, so we're gonna go to miscellaneous here and just get us some standoffs. Okay. No, that's a good point. Okay, so standoffs. These need to be installed in different holes depending on the motherboard you are planning to use in your build. The motherboard we will use has ATX form factor, and these are the locations that align with the screw holes on it. That's just basically a complicated way of saying that there are different motherboards for different kind of computers. Towers, rigs, come in all shapes and sizes. They can be that small, they can be super big. So there are motherboards to fit every kind of real configuration, or at least they try to make it so they're very interchangeable. So let's say you got a full-size rig. You're gonna be having different pre-cut holes for your motherboard. So let's say you buy like a motherboard for a PC that's this big, right? And you have a full-size rig. That motherboard's not going to fit, or it's not going to fit easy, and it probably isn't going to work for your needs. So before you even buy a motherboard, make sure it fits the case you have, okay? Let me just close this real quick. The case is just this metal part here. This shell that you're looking at right now, that all the stuff goes into, that's your case. This case dictates how big your motherboard's going to be. That's basically just a fancy way of what that dialogue box said. So just be aware of the size of your rig, and then the motherboard will follow. Deboosh, deboosh, deboosh. This is a giant freaking motherboard. Deboosh, 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 deboosh. Great! We're making progress. Yes, you have to install the power supply first. The reason why is because most of the wires for the power supply usually go in the back of the motherboard to kind of keep it from being cluttered. You don't want a lot of wires and crap getting stuck all over the place on your rig. It not only does it make modding it super hard, it also makes it look really disgusting. That's mainly the reason. It just looks gross. Now open your inventory again by pressing iron, thermalite, smart, whatever. Okay, so 500 W is, it just means 500 watts. Okay, so, I don't know if you know this, PCs take a lot of power to run. So, you're gonna want, again, you're gonna want a power pack that's gonna power all of your stuff. So, usually bigger is better. You don't want to try and go for a budget power pack. Like, if you're going to go for like 200 watts, your computer is not going to do anything but run MS Paint. And that's, if you're trying to do a gaming channel, ain't going to work for you. My power supply, if you guys are wondering, it's 600 watts. I think? I'm actually not really sure. It might be 650. I got a pretty high one. But anyway, long story short, go for a bigger power pack. That's one thing you don't want to skimp on. If you don't have enough power to run your rig, there's really no point in spending all that cash anyway, because you're just going to get a 500 watt. It's not going to power crap. Now, I'm not saying 500 watts ain't going to power it. Oh my god, I just realized. I just said that. 500 watts could be totally enough for you. Again, it's all about what you're putting into the system. If you're getting like the biggest, baddest motherboard, the biggest, baddest graphics card, the biggest, baddest cooling system, I mean, yeah, you're going to want a lot more power than probably 500 watts. But if you're just building a regular gaming rig, like the one I have, 650, 600, 500 probably works good for you. IO shield. Oh, I actually completely forgot about the IO shield. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, so basically an IO shield is just a fancy little device that keeps radio interference from happening. Because your PC will send out a lot of power, and if you don't have an IO shield, it'll mess with your electronics. That's obviously not good. It'll make weird noises, and that's just it. You think you'll have ghosts. That's what's gonna happen. Wait, that's not a real that's not the full IO shield. There's supposed to be other parts that stick out of it. That's okay. Maybe it'll happen when we plug in the motherboard? Not really even sure. What's next? Asus P8 P67. Mind you, this is probably not a good motherboard. At this point in real life, you would install the screws that hold the motherboard, being sure to have one in every standoff. The parts in this game are held together by magic, so they don't require any screws. Next, we are going to install the CPU. This is the component responsible for interpreting and executing most of the commands from the other hardware and software from the computer. To do this, first open the slot for that, click the highlighted part on the motherboard. That part is called load plate, and it's what holds some type of CPUs in place in their slot. So, basic looking at this thing, right? I'm gonna tell you some basic things that you need to know about this motherboard. Okay, all right, so this blue stuff right here and up top there, okay, that's nothing. That's literally cast aluminum. That is called a heat sink, and it draws heat off of your motherboard. So metal radiates heat better than air. So what they do is they get these thin strips of metal, and they absorb the heat, and then it radiates it off easier than if it was coming off the motherboard. So that just makes your system cooler. Okay, so these holes right here, these slots that we're looking at, there's 4 of them. That's where your RAM sticks go. Most PCs nowadays can hold up to 4 sticks of RAM. If you're getting a smaller case for your rig, the motherboards usually tend to only have 2. And they offset that by having different gigs of memory for RAM sticks. So RAM sticks can go up from anywhere like 1 gig of RAM all the way to 8 per stick. So I mean, like, you don't need that much RAM, but again, it's kind of one of those things where more is better. Obviously, if you have a lot of RAM, you'll never max it out and your PC will run smoothly, but you can usually get by with like 8 to 16 gigs of RAM. Anything in between there, you're looking at a pretty sweet piece. That's what I'm trying to tell you. My God, that's an old looking computer. Is that a Macintosh? No! And cassettes! Oh, the people watching this, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's okay. This is like how computers used to look. And the screen turned on and it was green, and all you could do was write letters and numbers. And you didn't play games or anything, and Apple made it. So these little guys right here, so this guy right here, and this teal guy, and this white guy, and this other blue guy, okay? Those are PCI slots. That is where you're putting in your graphics cards, your GPUs. Now, CPU and GPU are different. So imagine the CPU is your brain, is the brain of your PC, okay? And the GPUs, your graphics cards, those are your eyes. Or more to the point, those are like your nerve endings that lead to your eyes. They're what basically allow your brain to tell... How am I going to word this? Your graphics cards are basically the things that allow your brain to interpret what you're seeing. That's a good analogy. I'm smart. When you're putting these in, it's as easy as pushing a little latch over and just pushing it in. And it all sets in there straight, so as long as you're putting it in the right side up. There's literally nothing else, and that's all you have to do. Just push it in, and it's one and done. You're good. I mean, there might be some stuff afterwards, like installing some drivers and whatnot, but that's not a big deal. And there are so many tutorials online. It's so easy. So anyway, that's the basic parts of a motherboard. There's a lot of other little itty-bitty things like resistors and transistors and capacitors, and we don't go over those because that's just not important. It's a little too, unless you're an electrician, you don't care. Yeah, that's actually kind of fun explaining what all these components are. I'm a giant nerd for this computer stuff, so I'm just rambling pretty much. Okay, now we're going to install the CPU. Go to your inventory. Yeah, it can do. CPUs, we get a dummy CPU. Okay, again, there are so many different kinds of CPUs, guys. It is crazy. If you want to find the one that's right for you, I would suggest going online and typing in, or finding a website like Newegg, and then narrowing your search down from there. There's specialized CPUs for everything you're doing. So like if you're video editing, there's specialized ones for video editing. There's specialized ones for video games. All right, so let's install this CPU. So if you flip a CPU on its back, what you'll see is these like crap tons of tiny little copper pins, and those line up with your motherboard input slot. So there's a specialized portion of your motherboard that just serves as the input for the CPU. When you're putting in your CPU, there's a certain direction it has to go in, because if you don't do that, your computer's gonna go apeshit. So make sure you put it in the right way. There's usually a little arrow showing which way you're supposed to put it in. You kind of line it up, and then you put it in, and it's all good. There's a lot more technical stuff that you have to worry about, like when you're using the fan or like a liquid cool system, but putting in the CPU itself is a rather easy task, so as long as you can tell up from down, which I assume is most of you. Boosh, done. That is a well-placed super. Oh, thermal paste. Okay, so this is probably the bitchiest part of a PC. You put too much, you fry your CPU. You put too little, you fry your CPU. There's a Goldilocks zone of thermal paste that one has to be aware of when installing a fan or a liquid cool system. The cool thing about liquid cool systems nowadays is that there are versions that come pre-liquid pasted. Basically, what I mean by that is that the stupid piece that takes the heat from the CPU and vents it out will already have pre-installed, that's not the right word for it, but I'm using it, pre-installed thermal paste on it, so you won't have to worry about putting it on yourself. When you're, if you don't have that option, if you have to put it on yourself, only put a pea-sized amount. The element that draws the heat away, top slice. The element that produces the heat, the CPU, bottom slice. The thermal paste in the middle, that's peanut butter. Now imagine that peanut butter is what is used to take heat from the bottom slice and transfer it to the top slice. You have just understood how thermal paste works. Congratulations! Okay, so there are two different types of cooling systems for CPUs. There's your old school fans, and there's your new school liquid cool systems. Okay, so we're gonna install the fan. Did I buy it yet? I probably did not. This is what it looks like. So as you see, the fan right there in front blows air over these fins in the back. Those little white things in the back, those are the metal fins. They're really thin, and so they get hot really fast, and then the fan blows air over those and it cools them off, and that's what keeps your CPU cool. The CPU gives off the heat, the fins absorb that heat, and then the fan blows that heat away, and it just keeps doing that, and it keeps it at a stable temperature. Okay, so now we're doing a graphics card. It gives me an explanation. Let me drink some water. Oh, my voice is starting to hurt. The graphics card, or video card, is the part that takes information from the CPU and turns it into images, which it displays on the screen. It can be a separated part called a dedicated or discrete video card, like you are about to see here, or it can be built in the CPU called integrated video cards. As a rule of thumb, dedicated graphics cards have more power than integrated ones and are used for GPU-intensive applications like gaming or 3D modeling. Okay, so I actually didn't go over that. So, most every computer you will get pre-made nowadays will have a graphics card already built into the motherboard, and that graphics card is shit. That graphics card is pretty much just good enough to do Minesweeper. It really can't do anything else. It'll run your basic things, your Microsoft Word, you can surf the web, so stuff that's not very graphically taxing. But if you're doing a video game, you're going to need something a lot bigger. Oh, an Asus GTX 680 DirectCU 2 GB. That's a crappy graphics card. I have a 1070 NVIDIA, and I think it's 6 gigs. Oh, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Pretty much your entire rig is just chips and fans. That's all your rig really is. We will now install RAM. This is a type of storage in your PC which works very fast. Running programs are stored here for faster operation. If too many programs get loaded into the RAM, the CPU has to move them between the RAM and the HDD, which slows down the operation of the PC. To install them, first you will have to open the pins. Click on each of the highlighted pins to open them. Okay, so these are specialized PCI slots. And on either end there are 2 pins. So boosh and deboosh, and open them up. That's you just pull them off to the side and they open up pretty easy. Oh god, I gotta be so accurate and it's hard. Okay, this is important too, I suppose. You will notice that there are 2 different colors for the actual slots. These are called dual channel sets. You should install matching RAM modules in matching color sets to take advantage of the performance boost they give, but generally you will want to install the same type of module across all of your slots. So basically what that's saying is you have the option to color coordinate with the slot to get a performance boost, but usually people just buy one type of RAM and fill it up because it's fast enough already. You won't notice really a difference if you do that, so just don't worry about it. And we gotta put all of them in? Boom. And then they close, and then you latch it in there, and it's locked in there. Let's see if I can turn this a little bit. Look at that. And then it's in, that's actually really crap. Okay, other way around. I'm bad at this. Look at that. That is one. That is your RAM. Cool. Boom. Another one. Actually, I think these are HyperX too, or X Fury. I'm not really sure what kind these are. Again, there's a lot of different kinds for these too. All right, and then boom, and boom. All right, we're getting there. We're almost done building our PC. Now we install the HDD, hard disk drive. These are storage devices that hold all your data like your operating system, programs, photos, music, everything you have saved on your computer. Every PC has to have an HDD or a hard drive of some type because this is what contains your operating system. So your operating system is the architecture, it's the framework by which all the programs and stuff will work. The most popular operating system obviously is Windows. There are other ones too, like Apple has their own operating system, and Linux. There's literally only like 3. And if you don't have that, your computer doesn't run dick. You can't play games or anything. Most PCs will have it already installed. Sometimes if you're building your own rig, you have to pre-install it with a disk. That's a whole other thing that we aren't going to get in today. Is whatever. Boom. Boom. Lastly, we will install the fan in the back of the PC. Select it from the cooling category in your inventory and install it in the highlighted slot. Simple fan. Alright. Oh my god, it's actually going to make me start cabling. I'm going to show you guys how tedious it is to cable everything together. The last part of the tutorial is cabling. To start doing it, press F1 and change to cabling mode. What? Click every highlighted slot to install a cable there. If the connector you select fits, you will be presented with info about that specific cable. Don't forget to connect a hard disk to the back. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about when you need to install everything to the motherboard and to the power supply, because without that, nothing works. Oh, I have to go to F1, that's right. Okay. Oh, good God. I don't want to get into the different kinds of cords. There are different kinds of cords for different kinds of hardware. Okay, so how do I even do this? There are cables for freaking literally everything. SATA power cable. This kind does not fit here. What? 8-pin? 6-pin. Fan cable? What do you want from me? Molex? EPS? Dude, there's literally... I'm clicking all of them. Oh my goodness. Okay! So this giant power cord right here goes directly into this power supply. That powers the motherboard. Motherboard then goes on to power CPU, fan, graphics cards, RAM sticks, HDDRs. It's a whole thing. What is this supposed to be attached? Okay, gotcha. The EPS 12-volt cable provides the additional power to the CPU requires to work. That's the power supply to your CPU. Okay, and another fan. Oh, that powers this fan. Okay, yeah. So if you got a fan, you're gonna have to power it off of that guy. I think the pump on your liquid cool works off both those connectors, so you have to have them both plugged in. Sometimes you need 3, and then your motherboard's not big enough, and you're like, shit. Huh. That one's SATA. SATA. The SATA cable is used to transfer data between devices and the motherboard. It is an update over the older IDE connector and features support for hot swapping, connecting and disconnecting devices while the system is running, and supports higher data transfer rates, which translate to faster read-write operations. All that basically means, all that fancy stuff is the old model sucked, the new SATA cables work better, and the new programs can basically, you can take stuff out and put stuff in while your computer's running to know if it's working right. Before, you'd have to turn off your PC, you'd have to plug it all in, turn it back on. If there were any issues, you'd have to figure out what the fuck was going on with the thing off. It was a whole thing. It's not important. Nowadays, it's easier. You're welcome. Oh, I need a power cable too to this guy. Otherwise, it won't work. Boom. Is that an 8-pin? 6-pin. It's not a stupid. Is it 12-volt? Molex. It's a fan cable. I've hit everything. Of course, it's the SATA power cord. God, I'm stupid at this. A power cord can also be a SATA cord because it can't be confusing enough. Shit! The SATA power cable is a 15-pin cable used to provide power to the newer models of CD drives and storage devices, HDDs, SSDs. It is a direct update from the Molex power connector used in older devices. Again, older connections suck, newer connection rocks. It's great. Also, HDDs and SSDs, okay? HDDs are your regular hard disk drives. Your SSDs are solid state drives. There's also an in-between called SSHDs, solid state hard drives. I have one of those. They're super fast and they have a lot of space. It's cool. It's fine. Yeah. Okay. For some reason, they won't let me plug in the graphics cards. All right. It's fine. It's cool. Wait, there's right there. Fan cable. Haha. Okay. Now is there more? Let's see if I can. I really cannot. Okay, guys, I hope that wasn't too confusing. I just went over how to build an entire PC. There's a part that's missing that you can't install in this area right here, this little square part. Usually you have a disk drive. Won't let me install one in this version of the game. Again, you need a power cord and a SATA cable, and you put it into the motherboard, and you're done. Well, as far as a first episode of How to Tube goes, I think I did pretty dang good explaining all the stuff. Yeah, it's good. So again, if you're doing a gaming channel, go ahead, check this out. It's a pretty neat tutorial on how to build your own PC. Again, if you're a novice at building PCs, I recommend getting one pre-made. And then you can buy parts as you can, and then put them in yourself, and all willy-nilly. I fried a couple PCs building them before, putting the wrong stuff in it, so fucking around isn't a bad thing to do when you're learning. Alright guys, that is all the time I have for today. Thank you for watching my first episode of How to Tube. We're going to do other stuff like video editing, photoshopping, making thumbnails. It'll be cool. I'll do a whole setup video. It'll be a thing. I can't wait. It's going to be pretty exciting. All right. So see you guys later.